The sky above the Vegemine colony burned white. From orbit, the alien ship had fired its weapon. A beam so bright it tore the clouds apart. It hit the planet's surface like a silent hammer. Inside the underground chamber, Rise shouted, "Everyone take cover." The red spike exploded. Red light rushed outward like a wave, crashing into the walls. The ground shook violently as dust rained down from the ceiling. Some of the standing bodies sparked with energy and collapsed. Others screamed as their minds were suddenly released, then went silent forever. Aisha grabbed Reyes and pulled him behind a thick support pillar. "We have to get out of here. I'm not leaving them." Reyes shouted. "There's no time." Another tremor. The tunnel behind them began to collapse. Reyes looked back at the half-dead colonists. Most were gone. A few still twitched, trapped. He made a promise in his mind. "I will come back. I will destroy the ones who did this to you." Escape and regroup. The team raced back up the tunnel. Aisha led the way, calling ahead to the shuttle. "Hawk 9, prepare for emergency launch. We're coming in hot." They reached the surface as more shockwaves hit the planet. Fires had started across the colony ruins. The black ring was now split apart, cracked by the blast. Everyone jumped aboard the shuttle. Aisha didn't wait. Engines roared, and the ship shot upward through falling debris and rising smoke. Back on the horizon, the crew held their breath as the shuttle approached. "They're coming in too fast," the docking officer said. "Clear the bay." Riot's voice came through. "We're not dying now." The shuttle crashed into the docking bay, skidding across the floor. Sparks flew, but it didn't explode. They had made it. Time to strike back. Later, Ray stood in the Horizon's command room, staring at the star map. The colony wasn't just destroyed, it was used. Those people, they were kept alive, connected to those alien spikes. He turned to the fleet's officers. "The enemy didn't just ambush us. They're running an experiment, testing us, studying us. And when they're done, Earth is next." Silence fell across the room. Then Aisha stepped forward. "Then we hit them before they finished the test." Reyes nodded slowly. "No more warnings. No more hiding. We're done running." He pointed to the alien mothership still floating in orbit, its weapon now powering up again. "We destroy that thing. Now." Operation Skyfire. Reyes formed a quick plan. The fleet was smaller now, half gone. But the survivors were tough, angry, ready. The mission was named Skyfire. 3 squadrons would strike the alien ship's weak points. Aisha would lead the fastest unit. Rides would pilot a heavy bomber himself, aiming for the core. Aisha entered her fighter and took a deep breath. Her hands were steady now. She was no longer just a pilot, she was angry. "Let's make them regret ever touching Earth," she whispered. The ships launched like arrows. The space around the alien ship turned into fire. The battle begins. Missiles slammed into the outer shell. The alien ship responded, firing beams of silent red light that sliced through space. One Earth fighter exploded instantly. "Keep moving," Aisha shouted. "Don't stop. Don't give them a target." Reyes flew under the enemy hull, dodging pulse waves. He saw the red core pulsing, glowing brighter now. "They're charging again," he said. "We've got one shot." Suddenly, something unexpected happened. The alien ship began to open, panels sliding back to reveal hundreds of smaller ships, sleek and black, like knives. "They're launching fighters." It was a trap again. But this time, the humans were ready. Human fury. Earth pilots didn't back down. They flew faster, smarter. Aisha spun her ship in tight rolls, dodging enemy fire and blasting 2 fighters out of the sky. "They're not unbeatable," she shouted. Reyes flew his bomber straight toward the core. "Target locked," his weapons officer said. "Fire." 2 heavy torpedoes launched. They struck the core. And the alien ship screamed. Not in sound, but through the ship's systems. Static burst across every screen. Red light flared. A wave of energy pushed all the fighters away. A massive explosion followed, ripping through the enemy ship like a chain reaction. The lights inside the Horizon flickered. Time itself felt frozen. The figure from the architect's ship stood still on the command deck, tall, thin, and glowing faintly with pale white light. Its face had no eyes, no mouth, yet everyone felt its gaze, like it could see inside their memories. Commander Reyes tried to speak, but his voice failed. His mouth moved. No sound came out. Then, the alien judge spoke, not with words, but inside their minds. You have passed the trial of rage. But fury is not enough. Now you must show truth. The truth of what you are. The judge turned slightly. Its body did not move like a living thing. It shifted like fog shaped into bones. Tell us why your species deserves to exist. Silence in the void. No one spoke. All across the fleet, people stared at screens flashing the same message. Why do you humans deserve to exist? Raids looked around the bridge. Officers were frozen, confused, afraid. What does it mean? One whispered. What are we supposed to say? Aisha, still bleeding from her last mission, leaned on a console. They want a reason not to destroy us. Raiz nodded slowly. Not just strength. They want our soul. The truth begins. Across the fleet, messages began to appear. From pilots, engineers, medics, scientists, civilians. One by one, humans started to speak, not with weapons, but with stories. A young soldier on the Brave Wind spoke. I watched my mother die in the Martian riots. But the next day, I still showed up to help rebuild. That's who we are. We get up. A teacher aboard the Sol Runner typed. I've taught refugee children from 12 different species. We learn. We grow. We don't stop just because it's hard. A wounded engineer said a simple line. We cry when we lose. We sing when we win. We feel. Rise tells his truth. Rise stepped forward. He looked directly at the alien figure. You want to know why we deserve to exist? He pointed to the stars outside the viewing glass. Because we fight for more than survival. We fight for each other. He tapped his chest. I've seen humans risk their lives for strangers. I've seen love in the middle of war. I've seen people forgive the unforgivable. That's our truth. He took a breath. You're trying to understand us like a machine. But we're not a machine. We are alive. Messy. Broken. Angry. But alive. Aisha's confession. Then Aisha stepped forward, her voice raw. I was ready to die in that chamber, she said. I thought I was alone, but Ray's pulled me out. He gave me a second chance, and I swore I'd never waste it. She looked up at the figure. You think rage is what makes us strong? No, it's what we do after the rage. That's when you see what kind of people we really are. The judge reacts. The alien figure tilted its head. The air around it shimmered. For the first time, something changed in its presence. Its light dimmed, like it was thinking. Then, it spoke again. You feel pain, and still choose hope. You know chaos, and still reach for unity. You are incomplete, yet worthy of further observation. A new challenge. The judge began to fade, its form turning to mist. But before it vanished, it left one final message. There are others watching. You are not alone in this trial. The next judgment comes not from us, but from what you create next. Aisha frowned. What does that mean? Ray stepped forward slowly. I think it means this wasn't just a test of survival. It was a warning. Warning of what? Ray's looked at the stars beyond the ship. They felt colder now. Darker. I think something worse is coming. The stars were quiet. Space stretched out in every direction, like the cold ocean. Earth's rescue fleet, a group of 15 warships, moved silently toward the Vega 9 system. Their mission was simple. Respond to a distress call from a human colony that had gone silent. Commander Ray stood on the bridge of the horizon, the lead battleship. He was a tall man with gray at his temples and calm eyes that had seen too many battles. Around him, officers worked quickly, checking sensors and maintaining formation. ETA to Vega 9? Rise asked. 5 minutes, sir, replied Lieutenant Aisha, a young pilot with sharp instincts and steady hands. Rise nodded. All ships, prepare for standard drop into orbit. Keep comms open. Everything seemed normal, but something didn't sit right with Ray's. He had seen too many battles go sideways. The distress signal they received was too clean, too perfect, like it was made to be heard. Then came the silence. Commander, said the comms officer, frowning. We've reached Vega 9 system, but the colony isn't broadcasting anymore. What do you mean? The signal's gone. Just static now. Ray's leaned forward. Run a scan of the system. Look for any power signatures on the planet. The scans began. Seconds passed. Nothing, sir. No human readings. No energy sources. It's like the colony just disappeared. Reyes narrowed his eyes. That colony had over 10,000 people. People don't just vanish. Suddenly, a bright flash lit up the dark screen. Sir, a voice shouted, the Vanguard, she's gone. What? Reyes barked. The Vanguard, one of our cruisers. It just exploded. No warning. No energy spike. Just gone. On the main screen, pieces of the ship floated like silent bones. Before Reyes could react, another warning came in. Incoming fire. Starboard side. Unknown origin. The fleet's calm turned into chaos. Alarms screamed. Ships scattered. Laser blasts appeared out of nowhere, cutting through hulls like paper. Evasive maneuvers. Reyes shouted, "Get our people out of the kill zone." But the enemy was already there, fast, invisible, and deadly. Ships were being hit from all sides. They couldn't even see where the shots were coming from. "This isn't just a trap," Isha said, her voice shaking. "This is an ambush." Reyes clenched his fists. They wanted us here. That signal, it was bait. More ships went dark. The Silver Dawn took a hit to its engines and spun out of control, crashing into an asteroid. Another vessel, the Echo's Blade, disappeared completely. No explosion. No wreckage. "Where's it going?" Reyes asked. "Where's the Echo's Blade?" "We all know, sir. It just vanished from all sensors. The enemy wasn't just killing them. It was studying them, playing with them." And then, the screen flickered. A voice came through the comms, slow, cold, and not human. "No rescue today, humans. Only your end." Everyone on the bridge froze. The voice continued. "You brought your strength. We will break it. You brought your hope. We will burn it. This galaxy belongs to us now." Reyes stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. "Get me weapons control," he said. "I want all ships to fire at any movement. Anything. I don't care if it's a rock." But even as orders were given, Reyes knew the truth. The rescue fleet had walked into a nightmare. And now, the enemy was inside their walls. They had never seen aliens like this. No ships, no patterns, just death from the shadows. And now Earth's finest were being picked off one by one. Reyes looked at the stars and whispered, "This wasn't supposed to happen. We came to save lives. But now..." He didn't finish the sentence, because deep in space, something was watching. Something intelligent. And it had just begun. The massive alien ship hovered like a mountain in space, black, silent, and alive. No windows. No visible engines. Just smooth metal and a pulsing red core that looked like it breathed. Commander Reyes stared at the screen aboard the horizon. No one spoke. The crew watched in fear as the alien ship slowly moved toward the Vega 9 colony below. "They're going for the surface," Reyes said. "But why?" Aisha asked. "The colony's already gone. There's no one left." Reyes turned to his comms officer. "Pull up old maps of the colony. I want to know exactly what was down there." As the screen changed to show the Vega 9 colony layout, something strange appeared. A large circle had been burned into the land near the colony center, a perfect black ring nearly 500 meters wide. "That wasn't there before," the officer said. Reyes frowned. "Zoom in." They zoomed closer. And that's when they saw it. Pieces of human structures, homes, vehicles, even people, had been arranged around the ring like some kind of ritual. Bodies were laid in patterns. Everything pointed toward the center. "It's not a battlefield," Reyes said. "It's a message. The drop mission. We're going down," Reyes announced. "Sir," Aisha stepped forward. "You can't be serious." "I need eyes on the ground," he replied. "We have to know what happened to those colonists, and why this enemy wants that place so badly." Reyes chose a small team, 6 of Earth's best soldiers, and Aisha as the pilot. Their ship, a drop shuttle named Hawk 9, descended through Vega 9's thin atmosphere, heading straight for the blackened crater. The colony was quiet. Dead. Charred buildings. Cracked domes. Burned-out vehicles. The shuttle landed carefully near the center ring. Dust floated in the air like ash. The team stepped out in full armor, weapons raised. "Stay close," Reyes said. "No one splits off." They walked through what remained of the colony. The silence was heavy. Every step crunched over debris and bones. Then they reached the center. In the middle of the ring, a tall object stood. It wasn't human-made. It was a spike, black metal, 6 meters high, planted deep into the ground. It pulsed faintly with a red glow. "What is that?" one of the soldiers whispered. Ray stepped forward, studying the strange alien device. It was covered in symbols that seemed to move when you weren't looking directly at them. "Scan it," he said. As they began scanning, the spike suddenly responded. It made a low hum. Then a pulse of red light shot into the sky. A voice echoed across the ruins. "You trespass on a world already claimed. The colony was payment. The fleet, sacrifice. Earth is next." The truth beneath the colony. Suddenly, the ground shook. The team turned. The ground behind the spike opened, revealing a deep tunnel. From it came a smell like burning oil, and something worse: decay. Rise looked inside. Steps led downward, cut perfectly into the stone. "We're going in." They moved carefully down the tunnel, weapons ready. After 50 meters, the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. And what they saw froze their blood. Thousands of human bodies, still in uniform. But they weren't just dead. They were preserved, standing upright in metal frames, eyes open, mouths slightly parted, as if frozen mid-scream. Aisha gasped. "That's the colony. These are the people who called for help." And in the center of the chamber was another spike, larger, humming louder. Rice walked up to a body. It was a woman, her ID tag still hanging from her neck. He gently touched her face, and her eyes moved. "Sir, she's alive." More eyes opened. They were still conscious, trapped in a state between life and death. And all of them were connected by glowing red wires to the spike. "This is it," Ray said. "This is how they learn. They trap their enemies, keep them half alive, and study their minds. They're turning humans into data," Isha whispered. The battlefield around Vega 9 had turned into a graveyard. Broken pieces of Earth's rescue ships floated silently, still glowing from recent explosions. Fire trails shimmered across the stars as escape pods tumbled in zero gravity. There were no clear enemies, no ships to shoot at, just destruction coming from nowhere. Commander Ray stood in the command center of the horizon, fists clenched behind his back. His eyes scanned the damage reports. He felt anger, but more than that, he felt something cold creeping into his gut. 7 ships down," said the officer beside him. "We've lost over half the fleet." Ray didn't speak. He watched as the crew worked to stabilize what was left of the formation. And then, another blast. The Nova Star, a heavy support vessel, suddenly split apart like glass. No missile trail, no beam, just silence, and then nothing. "It's like they're tearing us apart without even showing themselves," Isha whispered. She was still at the controls, her hands shaking but steady. "It's not a weapon we've seen before," the weapons officer said. "No heat signature. No radar ping. It's silent." Ray's turned to his crew. "We can't fight shadows. We need to move. All ships scatter and regroup behind Saturn's dark side. That's our fallback point." "But sir," Aisha said, "some of our people are trapped in the wreckage zone." "I know," Ray said. "We'll get them." "No," she interrupted. "I can do it. Let me go." Ray stared at her. Aisha was young, just 22. Fastest pilot in the fleet, but going back into that firestorm alone. He nodded. "One shot. Be quick. If you don't return, I'm coming after you myself." She smiled slightly and saluted. "Yes, sir." Aisha's mission. Aisha jumped into her fighter and blasted toward the wreckage zone. Flames lit up the view ahead. Dead ships floated by like ghosts. She dodged a spinning engine core, slid past a hull plate, and finally reached the broken remains of the Sparrow Wing, a small medical shuttle. Inside, she found 3 crew members still alive, barely breathing. She linked her ship's systems to the shuttle and started pulling them out, one by one. Suddenly, her radar beeped. Something was moving. Fast. She didn't wait to see what it was. "Hold on," she shouted to the rescued crew as she pushed the thrusters hard. A sharp pulse shot past her, narrowly missing the tail of her fighter. The air inside the cockpit lit up as warning signs screamed at her. Whatever it was, it had almost sliced through her mid-flight. Still, she didn't stop. She dove low, used floating debris to shield her path, and darted toward the horizon. "Commander, I have them," Opening bay doors, she cried out over comms. Inside the horizon, crew members cheered as Aisha's ship docked. The three survivors were rushed to medbay. Reyes watched her land and nodded to himself. She's going to make a fine commander one day. Something hidden in the signal. While Aisha rested, the comms officer called Reyes over. Sir, we've been analyzing the original distress signal. Reyes raised an eyebrow. What about it? It's not just a call for help. We found a second layer in the code. Hidden. Encrypted. Play it. The officer pressed a button. A strange pattern of sounds filled the room, like whispers mixed with digital noise. Then a voice came through. Not human. They came because we called. Now, they die as planned. Reyes felt his blood run cold. They created the signal. They wanted us here, he said slowly. This wasn't just bait. It was a test. He turned to his crew. Get ready. This enemy doesn't want to fight us. They want to study us first, and then erase us. The stars vanished. Not slowly, not naturally. One by one, they blinked out like dying lights, as if something enormous was crawling across the galaxy, swallowing everything in its path. Aboard the horizon, the crew stood frozen. On the view screen, it wasn't darkness anymore. It was movement. A wall of black, like an ocean wave, but made of metal and shadow, and something else. Theo whispered, "That's not a fleet." Aisha stared in horror. "That's a world eater." Commander Reyes clenched his jaw. "Whatever it is, it's coming straight for us. The final enemy." The object was planet-sized, but it didn't act like a planet. It moved too fast, cutting through space like it didn't follow normal laws. Data poured in. Nothing made sense. It gave off no radio signals, no light, no heat, and yet millions of smaller ships flew ahead of it, sharp, needle-like, and silent. A new signal came through, not from the architects, from something older, colder. The judgment was false. You are still unclean. Prepare to be erased. Reyes turned to his crew. This isn't just an enemy. He pointed to the wall of black. This is the thing that makes enemies. Human fury reignited. All ships, form up. Reyes shouted. We don't run. We fight. Across the human fleet, captains gave the same order. Engines roared. Shields rose. Weapons armed. Theo worked at the speed of light, rerouting every system. We can't stop that thing, he said. But maybe we can make it look like we can. What do you mean? Aisha asked. If we appear stronger than we are, louder, crazier, it might delay its advance. It worked on the architects. Reyes nodded. Then we show it our full madness. Every last drop. The decoy plan. The idea was simple, dangerous, stupid, very human. They would overload their fusion cores, not to explode, but to light up the entire area, like setting a flare in the dark. We make ourselves so big, Rey said, that they hesitate. Theo wired a cascade reaction across every ship. If one of these fails, we all go. Aisha climbed into her fighter. Then none of us will fail. Contact. The swarm arrived first. Thousands of black, insect-like machines descended on the fleet. They didn't fire beams. They ate, ripping armor from ships like vultures tearing flesh. Human fighters scrambled, weaving through the swarm, dropping bombs, luring machines into shield traps. Aisha's voice came through comms. I'm surrounded. Taking 3 with me. Rey shouted, no, pull back. But Aisha didn't listen. She flew straight through the swarm, driving a tail of enemies behind her. She flew into the heat of an exploding fuel tank. Blinding light filled space. She disappeared. The comms went silent. Reyes whispered, she bought us time. The moment of fury. With the swarm distracted, Reyes gave the final order. All fusion cores, go hot. Now. The ships flared, so bright that even the stars seemed dim. From across space, the great black enemy stopped. For the first time, it hesitated. From the surface of that monstrous world ship, a single eye opened. It saw humanity. It saw not fear, but rage. Reyes looked into the screen and spoke not with fear, but fury. You came for sheep. You found wolves. Go back to your shadows. The enemy retreats. The swarm paused. The planet-sized object began to drift, not forward, but sideways. Retreating. A sound, Deep low, like a groan across galaxies, echoed in every mind. You are not ready, but you are not broken. And then, as quickly as it came, the darkness vanished. Light returned to the stars. The galaxy exhaled. Aftermath. The fleet was broken, burned, but alive. Aisha's fighter was found days later, floating dead in space. Somehow, she survived. Barely. Theo wrote the words that spread across Earth's news feeds. They tested our strength, they tested our heart, and when they met our fury, they turned away. The architects never returned, but they left one final message behind, hidden deep in their ship's remains. You are the wild card of the stars. We fear what you may become, and we hope for it too. Space itself bent like a sheet of glass. Where the first alien ship exploded, a tunnel of darkness now opened. From inside it came something massive, silent, slow, and terrifying. The human fleet watched in horror as a second ship entered real space. It wasn't just larger, it was alive. Its outer surface crawled like skin. Red lights moved beneath it like veins. Instead of engines, it floated by folding space itself. This ship didn't fly. It bent the universe around it. Aisha whispered, "What is that?" Ray stared at the new arrival. That's not just a ship. That's the thing controlling the others. As if answering him, a message echoed across every human screen, every radio, every brain. We are the architects. You were not meant to fight. You were meant to kneel. Power like a god. Within seconds, the new ship, the architect, began its attack. It didn't use missiles or beams. Instead, space around the human fleet began to twist. Two ships screamed out as their hulls bent like paper. One shattered into dust. The other vanished completely, pulled into some kind of rift. They're not firing weapons, someone shouted. They're rewriting physics. Ray slammed his fist down. I want every scientist. We've got to focus on that ship. Find me something we can use. He turned to Aisha. What's its weakness? Aisha looked pale. It doesn't have any. At least none we can see. Ray's narrowed his eyes. Everyone has a weakness. Even gods. A human idea. On board the Horizon, a young engineer named Theo watched the data pouring in. These energy patterns. They're not just weapons, he said. They're trying to read us. Our thoughts. Our fears. Rise walked into the lab. Explain. Theo pointed at the screen. This new ship isn't just attacking. It's learning. Copying. It's doing what the first ship did with the colonists, just on a bigger scale. Rice thought hard. So, if we show it something unpredictable, something human, maybe we can break its focus. Theo nodded. Something messy, emotional, illogical. Ray's gave a cold smile. Then we give them human rage. The plan. Blind fury. Rice put together a desperate plan. The fleet would charge. Every ship, all at once, toward the architect. But they wouldn't target the ship directly. Instead, they'd aim for themselves. We'll confuse it, Rice explained. Change targets. Switch orders. Fake our own destruction. Make it think we're losing control. Aisha raised an eyebrow. You want us to act like we're panicking? Exactly, he said. We'll show it the one thing it can't copy. Chaos. The chaos charge. The fleet surged forward. One ship began spinning wildly, sending fake distress signals. Another pretended to crash into the horizon. Explosions were triggered, but only on the surface. Controlled chaos. The architect paused. Its red light slowed. Its core pulsed irregularly. It's working, Theo said. It doesn't understand. Suddenly, the alien ship sent out a wave, a pulse of thought. Everyone on the fleet felt it. A scream, not in sound, but in the mind. A message burned into their brains. You are broken. Your species is madness. Ray's grinned. Damn right we are. Then he gave the real order. All ships. Open fire on the core. Now. The strike. Every missile. Every beam. Every torpedo. They all hit at once. The architect's body rippled like it had been punched in the soul. Its outer shell cracked. A strange blue gas hissed out. Maybe blood. Maybe something worse. Suddenly, the architect began to split open. But not in death. In birth. A hidden chamber inside the ship unfolded. A sphere floated upward, glowing white. Inside it, a shape. A humanoid figure. Tall, thin, and watching. It's sending a messenger, Isha said. No, Rays whispered. That's not a messenger. That's a judge. Cliffhanger. The sphere moved fast, too fast. It darted toward the horizon, crashing through its shields like they were paper. The lights aboard the ship turned red. The figure stepped out of the sphere and onto the command deck. It had no eyes, no mouth, but somehow everyone could hear it speak, inside their minds. You have passed the trial of rage. Now we begin the trial of truth. And with that, every screen aboard every ship lit up with one sentence. Tell us why your species deserves to exist.